You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Raise your hands up, raise them out.
Hello, everyone, and good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're watching this. It is now the 24th of February, 2022, and a big welcome to everyone that is watching the Cold live from our LCMS Traders Club Team 2. So it is Thursday. We've got quite a lot going on in markets as well, with quite a few announcements from Vladimir Putin actually hitting the markets too, just in regards to what is happening with Ukraine and Russia. We've got gold making a move too, and we do have the yen and gold in focus today with Jin. We've got myself just going through the DXY and how equity markets are behaving as well with the recent increased volatility. And we've got Kim Hong here as well, just going through, there's a few things just to preview, but nothing in particular, but just getting insights from Kim Hong as well after I go through the DXY as well. So good to see people flooding in as well. We do have the evening call tonight at 8 o'clock GMT plus 8 this evening. And there are some events taking place later this evening to prepare for. So definitely a worthwhile experience for everyone to get into that call there for the LCMS Trading Club members. But before I go any further, I'll just share the risk disclaimer as well. We do share trade ideas here as well. So it's important just to pay attention to this. Any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speakers. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. And again, feel free to ask questions during the call or also within the LCMS Trading Club forum on EchoFin too. So just to start here, DXY, we have seen the US dollar index actually make a move higher, and it's approaching, the last time I checked, it was approaching 96.40 as well. So we've got 96.38 here or thereabouts. Here's the daily time frame. So we did see the candle close for yesterday's or earlier this morning in this time zone. It closed at 96.17 or close to it. And now we've actually got the high of today. It did hit 96, over 96.40. So what we are seeing is that if we go to the 1 hour, we are seeing markets continue to be somewhat concerned about just the overall situation with how Russia are dealing with troop movements. They're not pulling anything back, and it definitely seems that they are making advancements forward as well. So a definite point of concern as well for anyone especially in high risk sensitivity assets as well. If you are in the stock market, we're seeing pullbacks there as well. I'll just quickly touch upon, this was the S&P 500. From a daily perspective, that's, really a significant down day. You can see that we've not seen here since back in July last year. So the next low is 41. If we get to 41.40 or so and break there, it could get even more interesting from a selling pressure perspective. And then we've got the NASDAQ as well, as you can see, significantly down. And then the XJF, which is the ASX 200, and that's down again. We did see a small bounce. So it got, the low today was 6993.3. So we did see a bounce, and it's quite a weak bounce though as well. So I would say from the perspective of the DXY for trade ideas, that we do have some news coming out as well. So we've got, I'll just bring this economic calendar up now. And so last night was pretty quiet from a news perspective out of the US, as you can see. It was more driven by the UK had the monetary policy report hearings. We just go down. So for tonight, so this is after the live trading call, we've got the preliminary GDP quarter on quarter, 7%. So that's going to be one to watch most definitely. And especially as we're heading above 96.40, we've got 96.50, but we could already see if things progress with this Russian movement of troops into Ukraine even more so, that would say to me that we are going to probably see a further lift in the US dollar. But at the same time, be a little mindful that if we do see pullbacks, look to see how gold's responding, the yen is responding, and also the Swiss francs. So I would just say be a little bit open-minded to that in the sense that we might not see a huge inflow in the US dollar. And if it's not happening, I would just say leave it be, because I wouldn't say it's time to sell the US dollar by any stretch of the imagination. So that's what we're looking for, 9:30 tonight GMT plus A for the US dollar. And we are seeing some extended moves beyond 96, but I would really just like to see how that comes out. What we have been seeing with prior to big news releases is that we have seen a run up in anticipation. So the move has already sort of happened. So I'm not looking to chase an entry here on the US dollar. I would just say wait and see how it goes if you've missed this entry on the US dollar index. And that more so, we're seeing some movements in gold. We've got a lot happening with the New Zealand dollar as well. And we do have that big news event. Well, not the big news event. We do have, the Bank of England and what they've said about their monetary policy. So a lot going on. And I would just say for now, it's just a sit and wait situation on what happens here. There's a lot of headlines. I shared them just before in the trading floor chat as well within EchoFin about what Putin has recently said is being shared around. So I would just sit and wait just to see if there's any substance to this, or if it lacks clarity. If there are reports of this, but we don't see any developments, then I would say we could easily see some pullbacks. So just be careful on that. But those are my thoughts there on the US dollar. So I'm standing by until we do see that GDP release, and also any other updates from Ukraine and Russia as well. But just to check in, Gimme, did you have anything else to share, or are we taking it to Jin up next?
Okay, so I guess I'll talk a bit about the current market that is actually suffering from a risk-off wave, another new wave of risk-off. Okay, so like Scott has shown you guys the S&P 500 and indices and things like that. Okay, at the moment there's really quite a bit of a sell-off in it. Okay, the yen pairs, especially right now, okay, are really selling off quite strongly, I would say, okay, because there's a new headline that has just been released, okay, and it says Russia's Putin has authorized special military operation in Ukraine's Donbas. Okay, I think we have already posted this headline in the Traders Club platform. Okay, so you guys should really join the club. As soon as there's these kind of market moving headlines going on, we will definitely put it in there. Okay, so I guess I believe, okay, this is really an escalation in the whole political tension between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, I mean, we all know that Russia has really sent out their troops, deployed their troops around Ukraine and things like that. Okay, and then right now, the next step is Putin has just authorized this new, I'm not sure what this whole special military operation in Ukraine is. Okay, of course, otherwise it would not have been called a special military operation. Okay, but I guess this is really, he's really into it. Like, it's pretty much like I would say at the moment, it's pretty much like a brinksmanship kind of thing. Okay, and at the very moment as the currency call is holding right now, there's this whole UN Emergency Security Council meeting going on right now. Okay, and they are actually trying to, hopefully trying to convince Putin to hold back on his troops, to bring his troops back to, barracks, his hangars, planes back to hangars and things like that. But at the moment, I don't know, it can't really be a brinksmanship to see who's willing to step down first. Okay, be it President Putin or the other party. Okay, so I would say at this moment, if you guys are trading, maybe you guys should just stay out of the market for the time being, at least until, I don't know, the European session at 1600 GMT plus 8, okay? Because right now it's just too hectic already, okay? The move have pretty much taken place for the past 10 minutes or so, at least, okay? And even before this headline was being released, okay, in the morning during the early Asian market session, like during the Japanese, sorry, not Japanese, during the Chinese market session, okay, there was already a decent sell-off in risk assets and risk currencies already, okay? And right now it just escalates further. And if you guys were to take on new, I don't know, short positions right now, okay, chances are there may be some retracement, and I would say some strong retracement coming in, okay, because we cannot expect the market to keep selling forever. Someone will definitely buy back up, and when these moves comes in, it will really be quite large scale, okay, and you can easily hit stop losses and things like that, okay. So right now, unless you guys are scalping, okay, or experienced scalpers, okay, otherwise I suggest you guys to stay out of the market for the time being. All right. Any questions on this? I mean, I don't think I can provide more on the whole special military operation details and things like that, okay? But nonetheless, okay, any more headlines like these and things like that, breaking news and stuff like that, we'll definitely update you guys again in the EcoFin chat, all right? And then if there's any updates coming in from the whole, the current ongoing Emergency Security Council meeting, all right? Yeah, I'll definitely put it in the platform as well to give you guys a feel of how things has changed or things hasn't changed. Okay, so with that, I'll hand it over to Jin, okay, for his sharing of trade ideas. Over to you, Jin.
Thanks for that, Jimmy and Scotty. Ideas have changed again. Just as I was preparing again, what happened? Risk off, had to change the whole idea again. Like Scott was just sharing with you, we saw the US dollar index got a little bit stronger overnight, but what happened was looking at the US yen. So before that, looking at the news, you can see that apart from the GDP numbers tonight, not a lot of other news to be released that could influence the yen pairs, apart from the uncertainty happening in Ukraine-Russian borders. So with the US yen, I was just thinking, well, before that, just to do a quick recap, Scott was just sharing with you about the dollar index. We're looking at it sitting at that 95.64 level over pretty much the whole week. And then it's just now track up towards that 96.51 level as we had anticipated. So with that move, anticipation was for dollar strength. What happened was now with the forces moving around, or the Russian forces moving around, looking at the USD JPY, we actually saw that instead of it moving up as we would expect for a dollar strength, we saw it dropping. One reason is because that move towards reserve, towards the dollar, but also towards the yen as well. So yen, gold, dollar, all these are reserve currencies and commodities. We saw that strength come into play. From this 115 level, looks like it's dropping. Keep your trades short term, although this is an H4 timeframe. I would set up for H4. I'll be ready to close out anytime from that. Keeps trading a little bit simpler as well, because looking at this move, what we can very easily anticipate is for it to sell down towards that 114.20 support level, about a 50 pip, 60 pip take profit level. Stop loss, I would keep it very tight, about 30 pips. You're looking at an almost 1:2 risk reward ratio, looking to sell now or below that 114.86 level. Points to consider will be to close out the trade. Oops, what happened here? You could even look to close out the trade at 1:1, and then maybe look at the 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the downside for the US yen. This is given the risk off sentiment that moved towards reserve. We're looking at that drop. With that said about the US yen, the Euro JPY, the Euro yen, what happened to this? Looking at all that lines, it is still tracking lower. One reason why it's pushing lower in addition to the US yen moving lower, it's also because of the euro dollar tracking lower as well. So we spoke about this on Tuesday. Looking for it to break that 1.13 level. Has broken. That trade is still valid because it's dragging lower, because the US yen is dragging lower. Looking back to the euro yen again, I do anticipate that we could see this track lower. I would take away a couple of these lines just to make it a bit clearer for you. I know there's an easier way to take away these lines, but I'm just doing it this way. Right, so having it like that, what you could be looking for here on the euro yen is selling opportunities. You could sell now, might be a little bit late, or look for it to close off. Look for about below that 129.18 level. Stop loss at about very tight. I would say keep it about 30, 40 pips. Take profit. You could go for that 100, but I would say anywhere in between this 100 will be a reasonable place to close. So you're looking at a 1:2.5 risk reward ratio towards the downside, but you could even be very happy with a 1:1 risk reward at about 40 pips. So look for 40 as a minimum. And then after that, you could be looking towards that 100 or that 80 pips for the 1:2 or 1:2.5 risk reward trade towards the downside. It does need to break below this 129.50 level. That's why I have my selling at about 129.19. With that, similar thing for the pound yen is that it is tracking lower as well, but I would be a bit more cautious with the pound yen because at this point of 155.50, we've seen it bounce off once in early Feb, twice in mid-Feb, and then now at the end of Feb, we're looking to see whether is it going to bounce off at this point. I think that if it can track lower, this reason why these two lines are here is I would stay out until it breaks below this 154.80 level, then I'll look to sell down. This would be something that you'll be looking at a little bit later, not immediately, because there's still a lot of space to move at this point, a good 50, 60 pips to move. So I would say trade the other pairs first, look at the pound yen later. I wouldn't go all the way down. Take profit can be about 140, but I would say anywhere about 50 pips, 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the downside would be a reasonable trade for the pound yen on the H4 time frame. Main thing is this is a very crucial area. It needs to break below that point before you can see further downside and quite significant downside from that point. With that, lucky last, typo. On gold, we have seen it. Where's my usual? On gold, we have seen it track above. We looked at that first trade when we shared with the Traders Club members on Tuesday night or last week, tracking above this the 1880 level, now towards that 1928 or 1930 level. I think that if this uncertainty continues, we can see further upside. You are looking for buying opportunities on gold. Looking at it on the daily time frame, you can see that it's on that big climb. I think that at about 1940, we might see some retracement. So might be a bit late to rush into a trade now. A lot of other trades to be entering. Look for that retracement before looking for further upside on gold. I think that if this becomes, or if this situation escalates, we could very well see 2000 there, but it might take a little bit of time. So in the overall direction is look for that retracement slightly before buying up towards that 2000 level. So quite a lot of uncertainty in the markets, which have given us a lot of trading opportunities. Main thing here is to actually try and prioritize which trade to get into first, which ones to jump into second, which ones you need to wait a lot longer before you jump into it. We have seen those three scenarios here on the US yen, the euro yen, and the pound yen, and in a later extent, the gold as well. So make sure you trade safe, keep it relatively short term, manage your trades, especially with all these big surprises coming out. With that, I'll pass it back to you, Scotty.
All right, thanks, Jen. And we'll just make sure that you do hang around in the EchoFin chat for the LCMS Trading Club members. We will share developments with what's going on today as well. A lot going on. And again, be cautious with trading as well. So that is the call. Make sure you hop on the evening call as well. GMT 8 p.m. tonight, GMT plus 8, that is, Singapore time. And hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Thanks for coming in, guys. Bye for now.